Welcome to C2 CRM development. In this lesson, we will create an application framework from a set of libraries for further development of an applied business solution. In the architecture of assemblies, the application is divided into two levels: the level of assemblies developed by the user, and the level of assemblies, the classes in which are created using the C2 Designer program. In Visual Studio, let's create an empty solution and assembly projects according to the application architecture diagram. Let's download the libraries required for our application. We go to the site nasmnov.com. In the Download section, click on the link Download Project Archive C2. Unpack the archive to disk C in the folder C2. Create a folder for our point of sale application. Launch Visual Studio and create a blank solution. We set a name for our solution: Point of Sale. For our solution, let's select the previously created folder. Click the Create button. We created an empty solution, then add assembly projects to it in accordance with the application architecture. Main Application Assembly. This application is the launcher. Includes only initialization of access managers to applied configuration objects, such as catalogs, documents, registers, and user forms. Loading the main menu of the program. Add a new project, select Windows Forms Application.NET Framework in the project templates. Specify the name of the application. Be sure to select a .NET Framework version of at least 4.8. Change the name of the main application form. Assembly of forms of applied objects. Developed by the user. The main work on the development of the application will take place in this assembly. Includes all forms of applied configuration objects such as catalogs, documents, registers, reports, and processing. Add a new project to the solution. Select Class Library.NET Framework in the template. Assembly of modules for changing and posting applied objects in database. Developed by the user. Includes handlers for application configuration objects, such as post, unpost, before write, after write, etc. Add a new project to the solution. select class library.net framework in the template. Library for placing the base classes of forms of applied objects, forms of elements, forms of lists, forms of selection. Classes created by using the C2 Designer program. Add a new project to the solution, select class library.net framework in the template. Form Manager Library. Classes created by using the C2 Designer program. The Form Manager retrieves form instances for menus and application objects. Add a new project to the solution, select class library.net framework in the template. Data Model Manager Library. Classes created by using the C2 Designer program. Obtaining instances of applied objects such as catalogs, documents, registers. Add a new project to the solution, select class library.net framework in the template. Data Model Library. Classes created by using the C2 Designer program. The library contains classes of applied objects through which the data in the database is received and changed. Add a new project to the solution, select class library.net framework in the template. Library of the Manager of Modules of Applied Objects. Classes created by using the C2 Designer program. Obtaining instances of classes with processing methods for posting and changing application objects, such as catalogs and documents. Add a new project to the solution, select class library.net framework in the template. Let's delete the files created by Visual Studio when adding library projects. Add links to the C2 CRM libraries to the created projects. The following actions. Copy C2 assemblies to the tutorial folder. Add path to C2 assemblies to each project. Changing the module of the main form of the application. Modifying the main application module. Copy the files of the C2 libraries to the folder with the lesson. Copy the folder name to the clipboard and add a link to it in each project. Copy the empty local DB database to the lesson folder. Copy the C2 Designer program to the Lessons folder. Let's add links to the C2 libraries in the application program. Let's open the Form module of the main application window and change the base class to C2 main applied form. Missing using. Let's override the virtual method of the onload form, add the initialization of access managers to the applied configuration objects. Subsequently, we will come back to this method again and override it to initialize the managers that C2 Designer creates. Regardless of the business logic of a program developed using C2 components, the initialization of the base properties is always the same. Tabular Section Manager. Catalog Manager. Document Manager. Form Manager. Image Manager. Module Manager. Loading the program interface. Let's make changes in the main module of the program. Before creating the main form of the program, we will set the interface language. This must be done before creating the main form in order for the form to be displayed correctly in the case of RTL languages, for example Arabic. Program settings such as language, size and position of the form output in the MDI window, size and position of columns in lists are saved using the C2 cookie class. This class is present in every form as a property. If at the time of closing the application, the user has set the program language other than the system one, we will get it and set it in the application. We launch the application. For example, let's choose to launch the interface in German. For this we will explicitly write down the language culture in the code. The next steps are to initialize the database and start the application with the database. Following actions. Launch the C2 Designer program. Adding a predefined user management scheme to the info base. Creating a model of the current base and uploading classes to the model project. Add missing library links between solution projects. Copy the file of the predefined user management scheme to the folder with the lessons. Launch the C2 Designer program. Remove unnecessary infobases from the list of infobases and add the previously copied one in the lesson folder. Open the infobase configuration. The first start can take a long time, while the local DB components mount the new database. Specify the name of the point of sale configuration. Add the names of the namespace of model managers, modules, forms. We copy the names from the names of the assemblies of the corresponding projects. Model Manager, Module Manager, Form Manager. We import the user management scheme. The composition of the applied objects of the scheme. We write the changes to the database. Let's create infobase model classes and upload them to the corresponding Visual Studio projects. Model Manager Project Folder. Module Manager Project Folder. Forms Manager Project Folder. Creating classes. Add files created by the C2 Designer program to the project. Let's go through the project files to include the corresponding missing libraries. Launch the application. Let's add a lesson information base. The application does not find the data access managers created by the C2 Designer program. We have not initialized them in the main window form module. Let's make changes to this module. Launch the application. Everything works. At the first start, the program adds the current user with administrator rights to the database. For example, let's create and delete a user's catalog item. The created application layout is ready for further development of business logic. Regardless of the logic of the application, the architecture of the assemblies and their interaction remains the same. The developed application framework can be used as a starting point to start developing any application in the C2 CRM system. Thank you and see you in lessons.